things making the rounds. You ready? Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Thank you all for showing up and for coming to our December 16th, 2025 meeting. Could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, good morning, Supervisor District 1, Jesus Eduardo Escobar.
Good morning.
Supervisor District 2, Martha Cardenas Singh.
Good morning, present.
Supervisor District 3, Peggy Price.
Good morning, present.
Supervisor District 4, Ryan Elliott Kelly. And Supervisor District 5, Chairman John Hawk.
Here. At this time, we'll go to our special presentations, if we can meet at the front.
Chairman Board, at this time, the Pet of the Month has been postponed to a future date due to an emergency at the animal shelter.
The what?
The pet of the month has been
pet of the
postponed. Yes, I skipped that one.
Good morning. Not too many. Just the green ones.
Oh, no, but
Board Chairman, certificate of recognition presented by the Imperial County Board of Supervisors to Marisela Robles, Employee of the Month for November 2025 from the Imperial County Fire Department.
So I want to take a moment to definitely not just say that we're recognizing Marisela for her efforts, but some of the efforts that she undertakes for the county includes the recovery efforts of receiving funding back from some of the disasters that the county goes through, which actually helps alleviate some of the pressures on budgets and things like that. So it's always important that we're seeking to get as much as we can back from the federal and state governments. And Marisela does a great job at that. So that's just one of the many things that she does for the department, and we're very proud to have her as part of our team. So thank you and congratulations.
All firefighters, come on up.
group photo.
The guys, you too, Rudy. Come on.
Stand next.
I'm getting posted.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How's your daughter?
That's good. Merry Christmas.
This way.
Cedric is a first-time grandpa.
Oh. She was born yesterday?
No, the day before.
What a blessing.
Boy or girl?
One-
Girl, Sunday. Another girl on my side. I'm a girl dad and a girl grandparent.
Congratulations.
6 pounds, 35.
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah.
Board Chair, in recognition of 10 years of service from the Probation Department, Yarira Ramirez.
Congratulations for your great work. Right in the middle.
In recognition for 10 years of service from the Social Services Department, Elvia Mendoza Sanchez.
Merry Christmas Eve. 1, 2. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Can I have the board move just slightly, Sandra? A little bit more.
We have to be within the lines.
In recognition for 10 years of service from the Social Services Department, Eileen Lepe.
Are we going that way?
1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. One more? We good?
One more.
In recognition of 25 years of service from the Social Services Department, Malena Cochran.
Congratulations. She's got a flower cake. Hold on.
Sure.
My work mom. Just stand here, Sandra. She's my work mom. She's the reason I've made it 25 years.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
25 years. Hasn't always been easy, but we made it. And I'm not gone yet, so. Thank you.
In recognition of 35 years of service and from the Treasurer's Department, Ms. Suzanne Bermudez.
Great, great. Come on.
You're both wearing green. All right.
1, 2, 3. One more. 2, 3.
Before we end the ceremony, is there anybody present that we missed?
Okay, at this time, we'll do item 3, consideration of urgency items to be added to closed. Are there any?
None, Chairman, I apologize.
Okay, item 4, closed session, and Misty, if you would like to read.
Good morning. I'm going to read a brief statement about public comment. I want to review the rules that govern this portion of the meeting. Based on disruptions that occurred in the previous meeting, it is necessary to restate these requirements. Under California's Brown Act, Government Code Section 54954.3, legislative bodies may adopt reasonable regulations on public comments to ensure meetings are conducted efficiently and in an orderly manner. The Brown Act further provides under Government Code Section 54957.9 that if a meeting is willfully interrupted in any way that makes orderly conduct unfeasible, an order cannot be restored by removing individuals causing the disruption. The legislative body may clear the meeting room and continue the meeting. As stated on today's agenda, profanity, yelling, obscenity, screaming are prohibited during public comment. Speakers must be recognized by the chair before addressing the board. Under the county's rules for conduct of the Board of Supervisors, the chair is responsible for preserving order and decorum. If public comment becomes disruptive or prevents the orderly conduct of the meeting, the chair will provide a warning to the speaker, and if the disruption continues, the chair will order the individual removed and recess the meeting until the disruption has ended. These rules are content neutral and are intended solely to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity to be heard and that the meeting can proceed efficiently and respectfully. Failure to follow these rules may result in the loss of speaking privileges or removal from the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Misty. At this time, we'll go to item 4.
Chairman, just to clarify, we do not have any requests for public comment.
Okay. No closed, all right. We'll entertain a motion to convene to closed session. Motion by Supervisor Price, second by Supervisor Kelly. Please vote. Okay, motion carries. We'll convene to close. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to our meeting of December 16th, 2025. We'll begin this morning with the invocation led by Mr. Kelly, the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Escobar. And what we'll do real quick is we'll do the department announcements. We'll get that out of the way, and we have another announcements. And after that, we'll start our public comment, okay? So, Supervisor Kelly, you can help us.
Please bow your head. In context, my father passed away a year ago, so I share this blessing with you. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain falls soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. May God be with you and bless you. May you see your children's children. May you be poor in misfortune, rich in blessings. May you know nothing but happiness from this day forward. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the warm rays of the sun fall upon your home. And may the hand of a friend always be near. May green be the grass you walk on. May blue be the skies above you. May pure be the joys that surround you. May true be the hearts that love you. Dear Lord, we raise up this gathering, those in attendance listening. Give us the fortitude, strength to be able to make proper and wise decisions by your grace in the county of Imperial. In your precious name we pray.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
Dr. Kathleen? Go ahead. Yes, Dr. Kathleen will make an announcement at this point.
Good afternoon, board and members of the public. I would like to introduce to you Carlos Lopez. He is part of the team that we have been building out in the county executive office. Thank you. I'll start over. I wanted to introduce to you Carlos Lopez. As we have built out our team in the executive office, he is joining our team as the Deputy County Executive Officer, Economic Development, long title. And he comes to us with great experience with background in economic development and existing networks in the arena of economic development. We believe he'll be an asset to our department, so welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk and honorable members of the Board of Supervisors. As Dr. said, I do come with 16 years of experience working for an economic development department. I am very grateful for this opportunity. It couldn't come in a better time, not only because of the lithium, but all the ancillary boom that it's going to bring. Again, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm very pleased and looking forward to working with the executive team. And they have great ideas, and whatever I can support and apport to it, I'm looking forward for that. Also, can't forget my wife, eternal support. She's not here today, but she's always in my heart. And my kids who are there, they're the motor behind me. And again, thank you guys for this opportunity.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman, I do have Ms. Paula Llanas from Social Services.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Just wanted to provide a couple of brief operational updates, or more than a couple, maybe three. This upcoming December 20th at there you go. Too fast. Okay, this upcoming December 20th at Coin Motorsports, the Abate team will be having its 35th annual toy drive. And all proceeds donated from the toy drive will go to the Betty Jo McNeese Receiving Home. I do want to recognize Mr. Brown, who dedicated more than 30 years of service to this endeavor. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, but his contributions are really appreciated by the department. I also want to acknowledge Supervisor Price, who's leading the efforts this year and has led some of the efforts with the Abate team last year. So that's appreciated. Her engagement has really enhanced the community participation. So we appreciate your efforts, Ms. Price. Turning a little bit into internal operations, a few weeks ago, our department also, Betty Jo McNeese, had our yearly annual review by the state of California. We're happy to highlight that we had no concerns. There were no issues noted for our department, so that's a great achievement because we have no caps to look out for. So I want to do and acknowledge the tremendous work that our staff does at the facility. This is a 24-hour facility that's open 365 days a year, holidays included, and they provide a lot of support for our foster youth. Second update was we had another initiative that directly supports a lot of our foster youth. This past Thursday, we had the opportunity to participate in a literacy event. We had approximately 25 foster youth sign up, and 19 of them participated. We want to thank the AT&T, Human IT, and the Imperial Valley Regional Alliance, along with the Ivy Economic Development Corporation. Our foster youth, all 19 of them, received a laptop, 1 year of free technical assistance and support. This is a huge investment in their future because a lot of times they don't have the opportunities to purchase equipment. Most of the foster youth selected are those that are aging out or non-minor dependents, so resources are limited for them. So this is a great support for them. We want to thank everybody for allowing us to participate in the last couple of years. Last year, we also selected foster youth and specifically families who had a specific interest in obtaining digital equipment and support. And lastly, I don't know if my team's here yet. So now beyond local initiatives, our team has also engaged in statewide level participation. We're happy to share that this month actually, our Welfare to Work team was asked to participate in Sacramento in a statewide conference that was focused on program innovation and performance improvement. The convening had opening remarks from California Health and Human Services Secretary Kim Johnson, and there were over 500 state and county partners in attendance. We joined Riverside County and Siskiyou County to talk about some of the efforts we've done in our county to limit our sanction rate. Our sanction rate, just for context, we had, when we started, our data indicated that we have over 1,000 families sanctioned. We're currently about 500, so that's a significant increase. And for those that are here that don't know what sanction means, that means that when individuals are receiving benefits from our department and don't participate in program that help them get into the workforce, they're sanctioned, their benefits are decreased, because ideally we would like for them to reach self-sufficiency. So we have a very high rate of participation. So that's a really huge achievement. I know they're not here right now, but those that participated were Enrique Nunez and one of our analysts, Stephanie Gomez, who's there on the photos as well. So those are all my updates for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Peggy, do you have a comment?
Just quickly, thank you, Paula, for that. The sanction rate being reduced by that amount is significant. Hopefully there's some lessons learned there so that they can be applied going forward. And I know that being dynamic and working with other counties, I'm sure you're sharing ideas, but I'm curious myself, but maybe you can give us that information later on how you were able to achieve that reduction in sanctions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that has assisted us the most is this body approved 3 ETW3s, and that has really helped us with the engagement because they handle our more complex cases. So that's a strategy that we've used and that we shared with the other counties across the state, where we could definitely come back and provide a presentation as to that.
And I don't know if subsidized employment was a piece of that, but I have to say that's, if the community is not aware, that is a wonderful program that helps put people to work where their job is subsidized, their workers' compensation is covered, and it's a great way to provide someone the work experience that they need for a future job and to support businesses and organizations that need that type of assistance, whether it's clerical, medical assistance, maintenance, and those types of things. So I hope you're promoting that. I've seen it be successful, and I hope that's a part of that as well.
Yes, it is, and I think all of our programs cumulatively are what's making an impact, along with our staff, that they're more engaged or going out into the field now, something that we weren't doing perhaps in the past. But with our ETW3s, being more engaged with our community and our clients, I think that's been beneficial, and they're promoting all of our programs, whether it's ESC, if there was issues with substance use, mental health, they're addressing all those issues early on so they could move into self-sufficiency. Thank you, Ms. Price.
Just one last comment. On the toy run this Saturday, there's been a lot of different events. Thank you for promoting that as well. If anyone would like to donate a toy that will go to children at the receiving home, there's different collection boxes. I know that Site Logic is doing a big collection as well. But Coin Motorsports does have boxes set up if you'd like to drop off a toy there. And those toys not only get used during the holidays, the public should know that if there's a birthday or something like that, that the social workers have access. And I know that you also offer, you partner with probation department and also group homes, things like that, to support some of the special events that children and teenagers need while they're in care. So yeah, so if you want to contribute, there are collection boxes there at Coin Motorsports. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Appreciate that.
Chairman, I do have Ms. Barry Bean from the County Executive Office.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the board. We'd like to make an announcement that the county will be holding a data center workshop on Wednesday, January 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. The location will be announced soon. This date was selected to not conflict with upcoming holidays, as well as to ensure adequate planning time for community members that would like to attend. We also wanted to ensure that it was in the evening and did not conflict with the majority of people's work schedules. We identified this date to not conflict with regularly scheduled meetings with the City of Imperial as well. Last week, there was direction provided to staff to provide an update on the processes that have occurred to date regarding the proposed Imperial Data Center. So we would like to share those documents and processes that had happened in terms of timeline with the county. On July 29th, 2025, the applicant sent site plan documents to the county. This included a site plan, project description, and draft IID system impact study. On August 12th, 2025, the county initiated a health risk assessment. This came from the Air Pollution Control District, who issued a letter to applicant requiring the health risk assessment, and that assessment is currently in progress. On September 4th, 2025, the county sent the applicant design review letter. On October 3rd, 2025, the applicant submitted a lot merger application and site plan. On October 22nd, 2025, the county received the grading permit application. On November 5th, 2025, county released the notice of exemption for grading permit. And on November 6th, 2025, the applicant deemed the lot merger complete to process. To date, the county has not approved a grading permit or a lot merger for this project. Upcoming events include December 18th, 2025, the County Planning Commission will hold a hearing for the lot merger application. And additional external reports and assessments for the Imperial Data Center that have occurred but are not part of the County of Imperial process are May 22nd, 2025, an IID feasibility study, July 23rd, 2025, a geotechnical soils report, July 25th, 2025, an IID system impact study for 250 megawatt facility, on July 30th, 2025, a Phase 1 environmental site assessment report, on September 8th, 2025, a traffic study, and on October 3rd, 2025, the IID system impact study for 80 megawatts. We also want to share that there are several different sites that provide information regarding data centers in general or this specific proposed project. Those include the City of Imperial website, the Imperial Irrigation District website, as well as the applicant has a website of their own where you can find consolidated information. And while we don't endorse any of these sites, we do want to ensure that the community is aware of where they can provide and find some of the consolidated information. As an example, on the Imperial Data Center website under Site Plans, you can find a copy of the county documents that have been issued and the letters. Under Load Studies, you can see a copy of some of the documents and IID feasibility studies and reports. And if we can click on one of the site plan documents or the feasibility ones as an example to show everybody what they can find. Let's try another one, unless it's our internet that's maybe not working as quickly as it should. There we go. So you can see an example of the grading plans as an example, and these are available online for anybody to download or review. And if we go back to the previous page and we go under Load Studies, and we click on any of those feasibility studies, you'll see an example of additional information that's provided here. Again, this is not information that the county is endorsing. It is just information that's available to the public to review should you choose to. Any questions from the board?
No? Thank you, Barry. Appreciate that. Okay. Are there other department heads?
No other department announcements, Chairman.
Okay, at this time, we'll open our public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any subject matter within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on the agenda. Any action taken as a result of public comments shall be limited to direction to staff. When addressing the board, state your name for the record prior to providing your comments. Please address the board as a whole through the chairman. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Groups or topics will be given a maximum of 15 minutes. Public comments will be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. If additional time is required for public comments, they will be heard at the end of the meeting. Please remember to follow the public comment code of conduct. No profanity or obscenity, yelling or screaming. No slander or defamatory statements, no personal threats or attacks, no hateful or demeaning language based on hate of a person's race, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or disability. Respect all people that are present or watching. Obey the direction of the chair and the clerk of the board. And now Jeff will read an additional comment.
Thank you, Chair Hawk. Before we begin public comment, I wanted to review the rules that govern this portion of the meeting. Due to the number of speakers today and based on disruptions that occurred at the previous meeting, it is necessary to restate these requirements. Under California's Brown Act, Government Code Section 54954.3, legislative bodies may adopt reasonable regulations on public comment to ensure meetings are conducted efficiently and in an orderly manner. The Brown Act further provides under Government Code Section 54957.9 that if a meeting is willfully interrupted in a way that makes the orderly conduct unfeasible, an order cannot be restored by removing individuals causing the disruption, the legislative body may clear the meeting room and continue the meeting. As stated on today's agenda, profanity, obscenity, yelling, and screaming are prohibited during public comment. Speakers must be recognized by the chair before addressing the board. Under the county's adopted rules for the conduct of the Board of Supervisors meetings, the chair is responsible for preserving order and decorum. If public comment becomes disruptive or prevents the orderly conduct of the meeting, the chair will provide a warning to the speaker, and if the disruption continues, the chair will order the individual removed and recess the meeting until the disruption has ended. These rules are content neutral and are intended solely to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity to be heard and that the meeting can proceed efficiently and respectfully. Failure to follow these rules may result in a loss of speaking privileges or removal from the meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman, first speaker is Mr. Peter Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Peter Rodriguez. Good afternoon, audience. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Holbrook. So the rules of engagement are as follows. We got to follow the Brown Act as it was listed, but I'm very disappointed that in this board that you enter into another lawsuit. City of Imperial is suing you because they don't want issues with the data center. It's unfortunate that it came to this process. I truly feel for you guys. None of you want it, but it's before you. You have others before you that you guys created. I think 6, 7, I could be wrong, but our county is known now more for lawsuits than for getting things done. But that's the way we do business. It's unfortunate that there's been misinformation being provided by my DC, especially with the wastewater distribution, that they have agreements with City of El Centro to already publish a statement that they're not in agreement. The truth has to be known, and I'm going to make it very clear. Since there are rules of engagement, I'm declaring a conflict with Director Kelly because he's related to Tim Kelly of IBC DC. I think that's a direct conflict of interest. I'm asking that the board consider them to be removed from public and also closed session items when it comes to this issue. Transparency is needed on this board. You've been elected to serve the people, not special interests, and I implore on you that you follow every letter of the law. In fact, I will even give you free legal advice. You can still pivot from this lawsuit. It's not retreating. It's advancing in a different direction to give you a little way out. It doesn't mean that you're quitters. You're just moving in a different direction. You don't need another one. None of you guys want one. Let's be honest. Our community doesn't want one. We should be friends celebrating Christmas, and yet there are people upset over each other, with each other. They used to be friends. They're probably not giving the same Christmas cards that they once gave out because of an argument, a discussion. And I will stand for our community because we lack transparency. It is obvious that it's not transparent. I read articles, and there's a review. They need to update their information. Is not updated. There's a bunch of misinformation. And I would say this, from a very Coleman movie, and this will be it. Show me the money. Has the money been deposited for business to go forward? If not, we need to pivot away, walk away. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mr. Nick Gumbleton.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Nick Gumbleton. I'm with LIUNA, Labor's Local 1184. I stand before you to talk about an opportunity that is more than just infrastructure. It's about building a future for Imperial County. We have a data center project that will create not just jobs, but real economic momentum for local residents. This project means hundreds of well-paying jobs and clear pathways to train our people right here at home through our local apprenticeship programs. It also means opportunities for local contractors and local small businesses to compete and grow. It means dollars staying in this valley, supporting families, strengthening neighborhoods, and extending the tax base that funds public safety, roads, parks, and community services. We believe in investing in our own residents, workforce, and the next generation. The approval of this data center doesn't just greenlight it, but it also means local jobs, local training, and long-term prosperity for Imperial County. Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Tom DeBose.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, members of the board. Tom DeBose of DeBose Design Group. You know, I've been making a lot of service club presentations, and the service club meeting, I think last Friday, in front of the El Centro Kiwanis, one of the gentlemen came up to me afterwards and he said, you know, do you remember what happened when we wanted to bring the prisons to Imperial County? Nobody was in favor of it. People were showing up in opposition. And today we're hoping that it doesn't get cut from the budget. So the two prisons that employ people here, people who live here, can remain open. I find that ironic. I'm here today to say yes. Yes, in my backyard of Imperial County. I was born in Calexico. I live and was raised in Brawley. My office is here in El Centro, and I'm hoping that this new opportunity that could help us in a greater direction in regards to creating jobs, creating revenue, creating new opportunity for all of us business people here in this county. You know, everybody's rights are been mentioned as a concern. But what about the rights of the people who own property that they have been sitting on that has this heavy industrial zone, and not just the counties, but the city of Imperial's own zone, that the city allowed to build single-family residential up to next to it? What about their rights? For the first time now, they have an interested buyer, and this project will bring additional interested buyers. And I don't think anybody remembers about their rights. The last thing I want to say is that when you adopt a zoning ordinance, ordinance becomes the law, the local law. And I wanted to compliment and as we appreciate the county departments of Imperial County following the law. That's what we expect. That's what we all only should expect. And your planning department, your building department, your air pollution control district department, your public works department, your environmental health department has all been excellent to work with because they've followed the law, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Chairman, our next speaker is Christian Salgado.
Good afternoon, Imperial County Board of Supervisors. I'm here today to speak on the behalf of the coalition, Not in My Backyard Imperial, which is a core group of 35 residents with 3,000 more behind us that are staunchly opposed to the development of the Imperial Data Center. We are now realistic and not idealistic. We're very aware our petition's efforts have been exhausted and have reached minimal resolution. We will need to explore more formally civic and legal resolutions. We came into this like it was going to be a sprint to a resolution, but it's definitely going to be a marathon going to 2026. So now I'm going to read the letter that was submitted to the clerk prior to the update today about the data center. We are extremely disappointed and disheartened by the Imperial County Board of Supervisors' continued treatment of this Imperial data center as business as usual. Your actions and inactions speak volumes. The developer's website is not an adequate representation of this information. At the December the 9th, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting, residents attempted to formally address our concerns. We were not given adequate time to speak, and our valid concerns and reasonable requests were dismissed. This lack of transparency and public engagement is unacceptable and quite disturbing. Other agencies have already recognized the seriousness of this matter. The City of Imperial has taken legal actions. It was discussed during the closed session of today's meeting. We are greatly appreciative of the City of Imperial standing with its residents, as we also believe CEQA was violated in this process. The City of El Centro publicly distanced itself from the Imperial Data Center project and reassured residents that transparency will be upheld. The Imperial Irrigation District hosted an evening meeting, an evening meeting and left residents with more questions than concerns. Despite these obstacles, community has mobilized. We passed out 800 flyers at the City of Imperial Christmas in a small town. We have also passed out and canvassed most of the neighborhood in Victoria Aiden, passing out over 600 flyers. Community support continues to grow, and our petition has reached over 3,000 signatures. Once again, we are formally requesting the Imperial County Board of Supervisors, as we know, to hold a special meeting. Thank you for that. And the time where working residents can realistically attend. And we continue to reiterate the need for reform. Not in My Backyard Imperial would like to zoning reform, as well as a moratorium on data centers so we can better address this. Failure to address these concerns are deeply public and disruptive, and our perception of our residents' voices are being intentionally ignored. And thank you for your time and have a great day.
Hey, thank you, Christian.
Next speaker is Tim Kelly.
Good afternoon, Tim Kelly, Imperial Valley Economic Development Corporation, Chairman Hawk, honorable members. I just wanted to come here today and let you know how very disappointed I was at the behavior of certain people in our community last week. Mr. Hawk, I think you were very clear at the beginning of the meeting. Everybody that spoke signed this document, the way that they would behave during the meeting. You let us know at the beginning of the meeting that there were a lot of people here, that you're going to give extra time for the community to speak, that the Board of Supervisors had a hearing that needed to start at a certain time, and when it ended, you would reopen public comment. You did that. You also notified us that there would be another meeting at 4 p.m. in which you'd have to adjourn, but would allow additional public comment. Because of the behavior of those that decided to violate the information that is on this sheet and the information that was brought forward today, there was a lot of misinformation out there in the community that the Board of Supervisors did not treat the general public well, and I disagree with that. I think if we follow the rules and we engage in dialogue about projects such as this, I think it'd be very helpful. How long have I known about this project? More than a year. The reason why? I happened to stroll upon it in an office in Los Angeles. I was not supposed to see that document. It was even before Mr. DeBose ever found out about this project. I did a lot of research on this. As a matter of fact, last week I told you, we've been working on data centers for over 20 years to bring them to the Imperial County. We've been trying to recruit data centers. We've been looking for locations for data centers. We know what the benefits are. We've also seen the changes. They become bigger, and they become a lot better in the sense of the equipment that they're using, the noise that they produce, and those other things. So now is the time that is right. One of the things that is being told is that this would be the largest data center ever proposed in California. That's false. As a matter of fact, the largest data center in California was just approved last Tuesday night at the Pittsburgh City Council. It'll be a location in which will be an industrial park for a data center. It'll be done in phases of 80 megawatts per phase at a total of up to 500 megawatts. And that data center closest neighbors will be 450 feet. It is built on it'll be built on a golf course that was shut down, and the people still live around the golf course. So that's the reality, the misinformation that's gone out there. You can actually go on Google, which the data is kept in a data center. You can get that information if people would do the research and quit blaming each other. And I want to remind you that everybody in this council has
Mr. Kelly, your time is up.
in the Imperial Valley.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Next speaker, Fabiola Moreno. Thank you. Mr. Sean Wilcox. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, Chairman Hawk, members of the board. Over the past couple of weeks, I had the opportunity to coordinate about 12 meetings with North American Development Bank, with multiple cities and the county, regarding projects that are private and public projects. One message was consistent throughout all 12 of these meetings, and that was a lack of infrastructure that's impeding development moving forward in this county. And it's not just roads and bridges. We also have industrial parks with little to no infrastructure, which makes it extremely difficult to attract development to those areas. We've got Mesquite Lake Industrial Park. We've got the future Lithium Valley Industrial Park without adequate water and sewer facilities. And that's hard. That makes it very hard to support new projects and create new jobs. Imperial County is a very large geographic area, and our tax base struggles to keep up with the infrastructure that we're responsible for. We have roughly 2,500 miles of roads in this county and 125 bridges. Many of those roads are in poor condition, and several of those bridges have recently been condemned due to age and structural concerns. We just can't afford to keep up in this county. Public Works, in my opinion, has done a great job with the limited resources that they have to work with, but the need is bigger than what current revenues can provide. I can understand the concerns of the nearby landowners, and I respect them, but we also have to be honest about land use planning. When housing is built right next to industrial without meaningful setbacks and buffers, it creates conflict, the conflict that we're talking about today. Did everyone really think that the land would never be developed next to those homes? Should those homeowners have been notified that they were buying homes next to industrial land? Absolutely. That's common sense. None of these reasons are good enough to stop an industrial development going into a correctly designated location. It's reason to plan smarter next time and going forward. At the end of the day, we have to focus on the greater good of this county and its stability. Projects like this data center can strengthen our tax base and help fund roads, bridges, critical water infrastructure, critical sewer infrastructure, and they can also support schools and create high-paying jobs. I know this project is not up for vote today, but I respectfully urge the board to support projects of this nature moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Chairman, no more speakers?
Okay, thank you. And we will move on to item, I don't know if we do item 9. Maybe we should move on to item 10, discussion of the agenda. Are there items to be pulled from the action discussion consent agenda?
Yes, Chairman, I would like to request item 16 to be pulled for a future date.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
Okay. We have a motion by Supervisor Kelly and a second by Supervisor Escobar. Please vote. Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Price. Ms. Price wanted to read it.
Okay. This is on behalf of the entire board, but I'll go ahead and read it. Many of the constituents in District 5 live in the city of Imperial. Those in that specific development live within Mr. Hawk's district, but we all have been receiving your phone calls, your emails. We've seen you at different events, and we've been listening. You probably haven't received the responses that you want from us, and this is a statement that I'm going to read in regards to that. I want to acknowledge the many emails, calls, and comments we have received from members of the public regarding the proposed Imperial Data Center. We hear your concerns and understand the desire for responses and dialogue. However, it is important to note that in anticipation of any administrative permit that may come before this board, regardless of the project, we have an obligation to remain neutral and unbiased in our consideration of the matter. In addition, because this project is currently subject to active litigation, the board is unable to respond to or comment on the correspondence received regarding the proposed project. This is not a reflection of the importance of the concerns raised, but a necessary legal limitation. Please know that your comments are being received and reviewed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Supervisor Price. We have a motion on the floor moved by Mr. Kelly and seconded by Mr. Escobar to pull item 16. Please vote. Okay, motion carries. Are there urgency items to be added?
None, Chairman.
Okay, approval of the order of the agenda. We'll need a motion for that. Motion by Supervisor Escobar, second by Supervisor Price. Please vote. And motion carries. Item 11, approval of the consent calendar. Motion by Supervisor Escobar, second by Supervisor Kelly. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 12, approval of the consent budget. Motion by Supervisor Escobar, seconded by Supervisor Price. Please vote. Okay, motion carries. Item 13, approval of the official proceeding for December 9th, 2025. Motion by Supervisor Singh, second by Supervisor Price.
Chairman, one vote will be sufficient for both dates.
Okay.
December 9th, regular meeting, and December 11th is special meeting.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Singh and second by Supervisor Price. Please vote. Okay, motion carries. At this time, we will go to, since we've had department announcements, go to the action calendar, item 15, presentation by Nielsen Merkhammer and Parnielli, Gross, and Leone. So Jeff, come on up.
Good afternoon, Board. We have today from Nielsen, Merkhammer, Parinello, Gross, and Leone LLP, our state lobbyists. We have Jeff Neal and Michelle Rubacava who will be giving a recap of the legislative year and what's next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Supervisors. We are very happy to be here with you once again. I am Michelle Rubalcaba. I'm a partner at Nielsen Merkhammer, Parinello, Gross, and Leone. Actually, we just changed our name. It's going to just be Nielsen Merkhammer, so that'll be a small change. And we're here to give you an update on the 2025 legislative session and look at 2026. For those in the audience, just so everybody's aware, my colleague Jeff Neal and I represent the County of Imperial before Sacramento Legislature. We are honored to represent the county, and we are the advocacy arm of the county in its efforts to Sacramento. I have over close to 30 years of experience now. I started off as a baby, no, as a child, but really enjoy what I do. And Jeff has significant experience as well representing local governments. Specifically, he comes out of CSAC, the State Association of Counties, and special districts as well. So we're happy to be able to represent you guys. This is a quick view of what happened in the 2025 legislative session. We had over 2,300 bills that were introduced in the legislative session. 1,500 of those were assembly bills, 800 or so Senate bills. Of those 2,300 bills, about 917 landed on the governor's desk. He ended up signing 794 of those bills and vetoing 123, which is approximately a 13% veto rate. All of this is pretty much in line with what happens year over year in the legislative session. I think his veto rate was a little bit higher this year because of the fiscal constraints, but it's pretty on par with what happens year after year.
So I'll go over some of the bills that passed this year of importance to counties. One, the cap and trade program was reauthorized. It's now called Cap and Invest. It's the smallest change to the program. It was reauthorized through 2045. The revenues that come in from those greenhouse gas emission auctions fund the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which funds a number of programs, including some, for example, that the county receives a portion of, for example, the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program that helps plan for sustainable communities and affordable housing. The legislature also allocated about a third of the Proposition 4 bonds. That was the $10 billion resources bond that voters approved last November. The legislature allocated about $3.4 billion, largely for water programs, flood control, as well as parks, extreme heat, and a wildfire preparation and response. So as those filter through the state agencies and departments, some of those will become available as grants for the county. So we'll keep a close eye on that. There was also a major CEQA streamlining package that passed the legislature in the summer as part of the state budget process that streamlines the CEQA process for various types of water, fire, broadband, other infrastructure projects, as well as for housing. Those were three of the conversations that took up a lot of conversation in Sacramento, a lot of legislators involved. But then we have all of the normal bills that go through the normal process. So we had SB 346 by Senator Durazo. This requires the short-term rental platforms to actually tell cities and counties where the properties are that are listed on their platforms. Makes it easier for you to collect your hotel tax, the transient occupancy tax, and if you have any regulations on short-term rentals, it'll make it easier to enforce those. We also have SB 707. This has been an item of a lot of conversation at the CSAC conference, as well as just among cities and counties and special districts generally. Imposes a lot of new requirements on Brown Act meetings, also gives some new flexibilities for certain types of Brown Act meetings, especially for your advisory bodies. Makes it a little bit easier for them to meet remotely, but for the Board of Supervisors, it requires, frankly, a lot of things that you already do, like allowing broadcasting your meetings, allowing remote public comment, things like that. And on the next slide, we have a few more. AB 339 puts some restrictions in place on contracting for most types of services, more notice ahead of time being required before you put out an RFP. AB 1007, there are a lot of bills on housing. We could spend a whole half hour just on housing bills and barely scratch the surface. This one just shortens the shot clock for approving residential development projects. And then AB 1108 by Assemblymember Hart prohibits sheriff coroners from conducting the autopsy or determining the cause of death for in-custody deaths. So there are a couple of counties that have a medical examiner. You can either contract with one of those in the unfortunate event something like that happens, or you can go to a third-party provider. And on the next slide, we have bills specifically related to geothermal. There were a number of them this year, obviously a couple of them that were sponsored by the county. But going in numerical order, we'll get to those last. AB 526 and 527 were both by Assemblymember Gina Pappin from the Bay Area. One of them would have required the Energy Commission to develop a strategic plan for geothermal and for next generation geothermal, similar to the strategic plan that was created a few years ago for offshore wind. That bill did not pass, but it is still alive in the legislature and has a chance to proceed this coming year. There were some cost concerns around that one. AB 527 exempted exploratory wells for enhanced geothermal projects. That bill did make it out of the legislature, but the governor vetoed it. I suspect not so much because of the CEQA streamlining. His veto message had more to do with the fact that the bill also required CalGEMS to include enhanced geothermal in regulations that it is essentially on the cusp of finalizing. There was some concern about the cost that would have, as well as slowing down the regulations that they were about to pass. So that one was vetoed. AB 531 allows multiple geothermal projects on a single site to qualify for the AB 205, the sort of streamlined state level permitting program. That bill was signed. And then the two bills that the county sponsored, both by Assemblymember Jeff Gonzalez, AB 1016, that increases the megawatt number from 50 to 100 for geothermal projects that are allowed to be certified by a county. That bill did get out of the Assembly, but is still pending in the Senate. And then AB 1031 that would have limited hazardous waste fees for geothermal projects. And that bill did not get out of policy committee, largely because of cost concerns and opposition from the administration and the Department of Hazardous Waste. So those were, I know that's a lot. There's a lot of bills. It wasn't 2,500 bills, but it was a lot. And of course, if you have questions about others, we have regular calls with the executive office, and we're always happy to address any concerns you have.
Thank you, Jeff. Taking a look at the state budget, the state of California has a very volatile budget cycle. We have years of very good surpluses, and then we'll have years of deficits. Last year we had a deficit. Looking forward to 2026, 2027, we are going to have another difficult budget year in the state of California, projecting an $18 billion deficit. This is an increase of $5 billion from previous estimates, even though reports on our revenues look very strong and healthy because of mandated constitutional spending, like Prop 98 that goes to schools. A lot of those gains will be eaten up by Prop 98. In addition, there has been, I think, an underestimation of program costs, and that also is increasing our deficit by $6 billion. And further bad news, looking forward to 2027, 28, we're looking at a structural deficit somewhere in the realm of $35 billion. So all of this to say that as we're looking forward to push forward goals and priorities of the county, we do have to be cognizant of the state's fiscal situation. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't find some funds for projects in special funds. Those are not touched by this deficit, but it is going to be harder in the next couple of years to really bring back to the county any significant revenues from the state. So just for you to keep that in consideration as we're moving forward on some of our state-centered priorities. In addition, a little bit of gossip, I guess. We have a new Senate Pro Tem. Senator Monique Limon, a Democrat from the Santa Barbara area, is the first Latina to hold that position. She took office November 15th, I believe. We have yet to see what her leadership team looks like. We check on a daily basis to see if she's put out some information on that. We do anticipate that information in the next couple of weeks, which means that we might have some new policy committee chairs in the Senate. Also, because of Prop 50, which is my last bullet here, Speaker Robert Rivas might be running for Congress. No. Right, yes. McGuire, definitely. But there might be a little bit of musical chairs in the legislature again due to some new congressional seats that have been drawn as a result of Prop 50. Of course, in 2026, we're going to have midterms, the governor's race, a lot of ballot measures. If you guys have been checking the Attorney General's office, always a heavy, ballot here in California because of our very aggressive initiative process. And then Governor Newsom and his desire to be president of the United States, he is what we would call a lame duck governor now. He is terming out, but everything he does is towards positioning himself to be a candidate for president of the United States. And so that sometimes impacts how he deals with counties and local governments. And then, of course, there might still be, as I said, the musical chairs resulting from Prop 50 and those newly redrawn congressional seats.
So next year will be a busy year. I'll say, honestly, we talked about some of the issues that they did resolve this year. It was a couple. There were a lot of policy issues where the legislature had a lot of bills. There were a lot of budget proposals that were not resolved. So in addition to new things come up every year, we'll have essentially all of those same issues that are still live for next year. That's, whether to regulate AI and different types of automatic decision systems. We're still going to be talking about housing. We're still going to be talking about CEQA. We're still going to be talking about policing, right? We're still going to be talking about all these, about homelessness, about behavioral health, all the issues that the legislature's been working on for years, sometimes making progress, sometimes moving in a different direction that would be difficult to call progress. All of those will still be live issues, but on top of that, we have the $18 billion deficit that's really the first round in a $34 billion structural deficit that Michelle was talking about. Plus, we have H.R. 1 that was passed by the federal government that is a massive cost shift to the state and to counties in California for healthcare costs, for the administrative costs of human service programs, whether that's SNAP and food stamps, whether it's other human service programs. Just that part is not built into the $18 billion and the $34 billion. right? That's billions more in healthcare. So are we going to backfill some of those cuts? Are we going to find other ways to deliver those services? Because in California, counties are the backstop for providing health services to people who can't afford it. We still have the issue of insurance costs, clean energy transition, which of course, ground zero here. All of those will still be live issues for next year that we'll be keeping an eye not only on the bills that are introduced in January and February, but when the governor's budget comes out on January 9th or 10th, depending on the day. I think the 10th is a Saturday this coming year, so it'll probably come out on the 9th. Keep an eye on all those issues, and of course, as we see things that we think will impact Imperial County in particular, we'll always talk with all of you, with the executive office, when we see those come up. I think with that, we'll appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak with you today, and if you have any questions, comments, we'd love to hear them.
Supervisor Escobar.
Thank you, Chair. We talked about two items yesterday, one of them being the entitlement programs here in Imperial County. We are a low to moderate income community, and there's a lot of people on Medi-Cal. There's a lot of people utilizing the food stamp programs, SNAP program now, because of the deficits that we all know and the deficits that we ongoing. Yes, there's a few bad apples out there, but for the most part, a lot of people in our county basically require these services in order to survive. So if you could shed some light into funding, lack of funding from a federal perspective, what the state is planning to do. It's a crystal ball question, but at the same time, it's a realistic question because the federal government will be in the same position for the next 3 years. The governor will not be, as you said, he'll be there for only 1 year, and we know what he's trying to do. So I'm just worried that these programs may be at risk from a funding perspective at the local level. So if you could provide input on that, that would be great.
I think you're right to be worried.
That's not what I want to hear.
I mean, that's going to be one of the major discussion topics for us on your behalf, but also among legislators and the governor's administration in Sacramento. There's not only, I think we're worried not only that that the state won't help make the county whole for the increased costs that it will bear under these changes. We're worried that in fact the state will push more costs, right, on you because there's a lot of increased costs for them as well, and they're in a budget deficit. Of course, when you're in your own budget deficit, more concerned with your own than all the people that you impact with your actions. So, I think we'll see conversations about increased revenues at the state level. I think that's something that the governor would rather not deal with. He's been pretty resistant to most, especially major revenue proposals that have been introduced the last several years.
And it was a loaded question, Jeff. I'm not looking for a coherent response now because it's impossible, but it's okay with the board and our leadership if that could be brought back maybe within 120 days once things have settled down somewhat in 2026. The other question it does worry me, and we discussed it yesterday as well, is the gas tax and how unfair the gas tax is. I mean, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. A perfect example is I drove a Tesla. I'm not paying a gas tax because I just fill up. So it's a different type of funding mechanism that really affects the individuals that are driving the 10, 12, 15-year-old vehicles that are not as mileage friendly as the newer modern vehicles. So it's something to worry about from not just from a equity perspective, but also from a funding perspective, because it's unfair for us at the local level. You look at how, and I'm going basic on this, but it's basically registered vehicles times miles of roads in our county in general. So how does that affect us as a border community where, example, Calexico's population of roughly 50,000 basically doubles in size in a weekend with the same services? And they're using county roads. They're not just using city roads because they're not staying in Calexico, that's for sure. They're going all over the county. So that also worries me from not just an equity perspective, but from a funding perspective at the local level. Everybody and their mom complains about county roads and their lack of, their deferred maintenance, for lack of a better term. So that's something that also, if we could look at within 120 days to see if there's any new developments on that front. And last but not least, this is more directed toward Dr. K. If we could do some form of a stress test on local departments, specifically social services, behavioral health, and departments that rely heavily on state funding and or federal funding that now has become state funding. Why? Because I'm afraid that fundings may be significantly decreased and how that will affect us as a whole. So if that could be brought back maybe within 120 days, maybe 180 days after we'd had a subsequent discussion with our state lobbyists. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Supervisor Price.
Thank you, Chair.
Bless you.
Bless you. Okay. I just want to add some comments on the entitlement programs because I've been very concerned. And healthcare in our community is essential. And my worry is that if our community is impacted in the sense that they lose their health care coverage or they're unable to afford with any changes, that it will add a additional burden on our local hospitals because that's where our community will go. When they have a cold or a flu, something that you could be treated by a primary physician, they're going to burden our hospitals, and that's something that we're struggling with now. So if you could incorporate that into the report that you bring back, that'd be greatly appreciated.
We will. Thank you.
Supervisor Kelly.
So I joined Supervisor Escobar in this gas tax. So the increase, California's paying the second highest in the nation outside of Hawaii per gallon. And it disproportionately affects the lowest income, the lowest earning, the smallest income household in California. Yet it's just getting added to. Twice in the past session, they added to it through the cap and trade and through the CARB regulations. And we're having 2 refineries close, one as of today and another in about 4 or 5 months, that will severely dampen the amount of supply available in the state. So we are, I would hope that you pay close attention to what they're going to do because they must address this quickly.
This.
If we're going to be facing $7.50 or $8 a gallon in California, everybody in this room will make the trip to Yuma to go get it for $2.75 a gallon and come back over here.
This has been a constant conversation over the last few years in Sacramento. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a solution to the problem, and there is always considerable efforts or people coming to the table to try and figure out how do we not continue to burden those who are already probably overtaxed for, the sake of clean air policies. And that is the balance that Sacramento kind of grapples with, but we're happy to report back any activity that's happening in the 2026 legislative session on this topic and let you know where that might be going in 2026.
And as Supervisor Espo was talking about, the EV, they're paying the registration annually. And the proposal is vehicle miles traveled. I've seen proposals where that applies to gasoline-powered vehicles as well as electric vehicles. That is not a solution to help the people that live in California.
Right.
Oh, you were trying to get my attention for a long time, I bet. I'm sorry, Cynthia. So we definitely want to know where that's going. There's a lot more chatter about trying to make that this session. And as I expressed to you yesterday, I don't want them to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't want a chip in my vehicle showing that I'm in the Mojave Desert or I'm in Big Bear or that I'm in Las Vegas or, I don't want them to know.
Right. No, we will keep an eye on it and report back.
All right, and then one other item, and so we talked about this yesterday, is SB 710. So the solar impact, this thing slipped by us, and I would like to know what implementations are going to happen. This is grandfathered all the solar farms in Imperial Valley for a property tax exemption, and so to the county executive team, we need to take a full look at what this is going to mean, because in 2010 and 2013, when there was a voluntary agreements made, we grandfathered those, but we expected the exemption to expire at the end of this coming calendar year. By January 1st of 27, that was the end of it. And Jeff, you were sharing with me that this language had nothing to do with solar farms. Then it gets through in the 11th hour and gets signed, and now it applies to solar farms. That's a bait and switch. If it was only meant to be for rooftop solar, and now all of a sudden it applies to commercial scale solar farms, it's not just Imperial County. There are multiple counties, especially in rural California, that are going to be paying the price, not just for the past 20 years, but for another 50 years to come until somebody wakes up. So I really want to know what the implementation is and what the impact is that we're losing in what the actual property assessment should be.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, I just want to reiterate, for each of the people in our Imperial County, what would $8 gas do to our economy here with 16 to 18% unemployment in our county? And so we're looking at, just from a business point of view, and I mentioned that to you yesterday, that if regulations for business are up 1,600% in the last 20 years, that indicates and that tells me why the number of people are leaving this state. And we need to have, we need a respite from all the regulations that are attacking business and keeping us from prospering. We have an unbelievable resource in Lithium Valley, and yet the producers and those that are investing in our county are saying anywhere but California. So that message needs to get to the state, get to the governor's office, and we need to, in my mind, I can understand why we're working on a $35 billion deficit. It's because we are not getting the revenues from people that can build equity in the state, that can build our state like it should be. So we do have an issue, and we need to move forward on this. So anyway, Michelle, thank you, and I know you heard a lot of this yesterday, and Jeff, thank you also.
Thank you again.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will move to the public hearing, and we will adjourn as a board and convene as the public hearing. Go ahead.
Yes, Chairman, we will now move into our public hearing section of the agenda. Conduct a public hearing pursuant to California Government Code Sections 4217.10 through 4217.18 to receive comments on the proposed energy service agreement between the County of Imperial and SiteLogic, Inc. for the implementation of the Cost Savings Energy Program, including countywide energy efficiency, renewable energy, and advanced mobility improvements. And following the close of the public hearing, consider adoption of a resolution making the findings required by Government Code Sections 4217.10 through 4217.18, and consideration of approval of the Energy Service Master Agreement under a separate agenda item.
Okay. Gil?
Good afternoon. Gil Rebler, Deputy CEO. Essentially saying the same thing that the clerk of the board said. This item is required under the California Government Code Sections 4217.10 through 4217.18. As required by the statute, notice of this hearing was published in the Imperial Valley Press on December 2nd, 2025. Government Code 4217 allows public agencies to enter into energy service contracts where the governing body finds that the cost of the energy services, together with any financing costs, will be less than the marginal cost of the energy that would otherwise have been consumed, and that entering in the contract is in the best interest of the agency. This section also requires a public hearing, which is the purpose of this item. And so today's hearing is limited to the presentation and any public testimony on the proposed agreement. Following the close of the public hearing, the board will be asked under a separate action item to consider adoption of the resolution and making the findings required by the government code and consider approval of the Energy Services Master Agreement and related documents. And with that brief overview, I will introduce Josh Stieber and the Site Logic team for a presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board, county staff. Look forward to take this. Good. Okay. Look forward to doing a recap on this presentation. Again, please feel free to interrupt me anytime to ask any questions. Should be brief. We're just going to highlight again the benefits, what you're getting out of this investment, and really that next steps. And I'm not talking about next steps getting a contract. Next steps of knowing that the incentive money from the big beautiful bill of the July 3rd deadline, we're really kind of laying a timeline for a foundation for that implementation. So just a few things real fast to cover program benefits on this specific program. This has been a budget neutral program. There's going to be no upfront capital coming from the county, and the program's funded by the generation, the energy savings, and any cost recovery from the EV revenues as well. This program also provides guarantee energy and production guarantee as well. So energy efficiency savings and also the renewable production. Any shortfalls that we miss year after year, those shortfalls are paid back to the county. We've taken a holistic approach. We've understand across all the utility side, electric and water, but really dove down deeper into the infrastructure side and even some of the mobility challenges and impacts that are coming back from Sacramento. Another, which has been kind of a common word throughout today, labor stabilization, bringing some of our local partners here in the Valley to be able to commence the construction of this project and get building. I know everyone has been stoked from the development side and then hopefully looking forward to the implementation side. And then the procurement channel, again, being highlighted over the Government Code 4217, which was enacted in the mid-'80s due to energy crisis. So we're touching on those. Now, I wanted to label this county-owned enhancements. Your investment you're making, you're owning everything. There's no power purchase agreements. This is a tax-exempt municipal lease, so really the collateral is on the technology itself. So you own all this. We've broke it down in energy efficiency, renewable generation, infrastructure improvements, and advanced mobility. I'd love to touch on a few of those, starting with energy efficiency. We will be doing a complete county-wide LED retrofit. That's interior and exterior, and those are, again, all county-owned buildings. Sorry, Supervisor Escobar, there is none in your district, but we do cover District 2 through 5 on getting that completed across the board. We'll also be looking at renewable generation at 3 sites. 2 of the sites will actually be shaded carport structures for public access, also maybe some staff as well, but you're going to be seeing it here just south of the building between Public Works and the old courthouse. You'll be seeing a structure going up at the airport. You'll also be seeing some infrastructure improvement around some of those sites. So for example, in the airport itself, we're going to be doing some parking lot remediations. We've also been working with IID through this whole process, so we haven't come up just given a vision. We have been working with this local team to make sure that we know where there's upgrades that are needed. Will it fit into the project? So those are incorporated. And then on the mobility side, focusing right now in a few of those sites, public EV charging stations, and finding a form of that EV revenues as a cost recovery back to the program. And then there is also one grant that we helped win, or we didn't help win, we helped the county win, and that would be applied for fleet charging, and that will be at the Veterans Hall Any questions on what you're getting out of this? I kind of wanted to touch over real fast, but you're really getting a lot out of this investment. And again, all of these pays for itself through the energy efficiency, the renewable generation, and the EV charging. Oh, yes, I did have this. So really highlight total program costs. This is just roughly $12.3 million. I wanted to break out the savings in some areas. So the utility cost avoidance, just on the solar side, we're looking at a little $8.7 million in generation over the next 30 years. The utility cost avoidance on the energy efficiency side, which we only ran for 20 years, you're seeing a little over $14.2 million. We projected the EV revenues for 20 years in those public spaces to be roughly about a little over $500,000. Grants, incentives, rebates, this comes from the big beautiful bill on the federal side. We also have state and local money, but we're seeing a total of $2.6 million being contributed to this program. And we're seeing a program net savings of 30 years after some debt services that would handle the program. We're looking at a little $5.2 million in cash flow that goes back to the county and other needs they would like to use that money for. So how do we get there? Because I know a lot of that, a little over $2 million was from the big beautiful bill. Today we're here for a public hearing, and again, I appreciate these last couple of years allowing me to come in here and just kind of keep throwing the vision and keep having conversations with all of you to see if this program is the right investment for the county. We're looking for approval today, which we'll be finalizing funding and notice to proceed by end of January. Through February through April, we'll be working on getting stamp drawings, coordination with IID, procurement, which is huge, because these are key milestones for the big beautiful bill on the phase out of the renewable incentives. May, we want to be able to do a groundbreaking ceremony, and then June, construction commences, and that's more of your fences, your porta potties. Really, it shows boots on the ground. We believe we can hit that June mark because by July 3rd, 2026, the phase out of submitting for any incentives from the federal government on the big beautiful bill will go away. They would like, the big beautiful bill and the federal government would like us to be in not only contract, but construction also started by then. And this lays out those next steps that we will achieve that and we will get there. Almost, I forgot I didn't do a number, but almost 20% of the total program cost is being funded by those incentives, which is huge. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you again.
At this time, we'll open it up for public comments.
Yes, Chairman, we'll open up for the public hearing. I do have two speakers. The first speaker is Mr. Hector Mesa.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Hector Mesa. I'm a local journeyman electrician and a representative for IBW Local 569. We represent around 400 electricians in Imperial Valley and overall 3,700 between San Diego and Imperial County. Our Imperial Valley apprenticeship program just took in 20 new apprentices, and more will be coming as long as we keep projects like this going. The project is exactly what we want: sustainable, renewable energy. It's on parking lot structures like the ones actually here outside the building. Those were done by local Imperial Valley journeymen and apprentices, local residents. LED lighting is more efficient. Infrastructure needs upgrades. EV is needed here in the valley. The project will use the least possible amount of money from the general fund because it's going to be funded through the cost energy savings and not through taxpayers' money. What more do we want? Let's just get this done, and IBW 569 supports site logic proposal of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mesa.
Next speaker, Ms. Fabiola Moreno.
Good afternoon, everyone. Fabiola Moreno, representing IBW 569. IBW is in support of the proposed energy savings agreement between the County of Imperial and SiteLogic for the implementation of the cost savings energy program. More specifically, we look forward to working on the identified measures, including countywide LED lighting upgrades, more solar in different buildings throughout the county, transformer replacements, parking lot and infrastructure upgrades, and public and fleet EV charging stations. We've been working on these projects for the last 2 decades that IBW has been here, and we look forward to contributing to grow the Valley's renewable energy portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moreno.
Chairman, I have no more speakers.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing and turn it over to comments from the board. Are there any comments?
Chair Hawk, I would recommend to move into item 22, which is the related part to this public hearing.
All right. We'll go to item 22. Following the, approve the following actions as requested by Dr. Lang, Executive Officer.
Yes.
Mr. Gil Revelar.
Yes, so this action item asks the board to adopt the resolution as stated under Government Code Section 4217 and to approve the Energy Services Master Agreement with SiteLogic. The agreement in your packet is an umbrella contract that governs how SiteLogic will design and construct energy improvements at the county facilities, as Mr. Stiebert stated. The work is defined and authorized through work orders attached in Exhibit C. And as Mr. Stiebert stated, the initial cost savings energy program sets a fixed order price of $12,269,490 for the specified scope of work. Now, under the agreement, no work proceeds until the county issues a written notice to proceed. Payments are made as progress payments based on the value of work actually completed and approved by the county. There is no lump sum payment simply for approving the agreement. The first payment only becomes due after work has commenced and approved estimate is submitted. Final payment is not due until final completion and acceptance. Working with County Council as well as with SiteLogic, the agreement also includes a clear financing contingency. The county's intention to implement the program is contingent on securing financing on terms acceptable to the county. And no work may begin and no payment obligations arise until that financing is in place and the county has waived the contingency and issued a notice to proceed. In short, the agreement sets a fixed price and detailed rules for how the project will be delivered, ties payment to verified progress, and protects the county if financing does not materialize. Staff's recommendation, the board adopt the resolution making the required findings under Government Code 4217, approve the Energy Service Master Agreement with SiteLogic consistent with that resolution, and authorize the chair or the county officer to execute the agreements and related documents subject to County Council review.
Okay, thank you, Gil. Is there any comments? Okay, if no comments, we have a motion by Supervisor Kelly and a second by Supervisor Escobar. Please vote. Motion carries. Okay, Josh. Okay, at this time, we'll return to item 17 on your action calendar. Discussion action regarding the following actions. Madam Clerk.
That's us, right? All right.
Okay, Mr. Undersheriff.
You cleared the room, dude. Yeah. Nobody wants to see me. Gosh.
Well, you're packing.
Sorry, we'll make it easy.
Scared.
Yeah. Everybody go ahead and put that yes, and we're good. Hey, good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, Board of Supervisors. Today we come before you to request to delete and unfund 2 public safety dispatcher positions. With that, we're also requesting to add and fund 2 public safety dispatch lead positions. Difference is lead in that. This is a reallocation of positions and does not include or increase the total number of authorized positions in our budget. Currently, our dispatch center is operated with 14 dispatch positions, 1 extra help, and 1 supervisor. The supervisor is required to manage both administrative responsibilities and routine operational oversight, which can impact efficiency and responsiveness. The proposed lead positions will provide real-time oversight and guidance to staff, assist with work-related issues, and help distribute duties more effectively. This change also promotes upward mobility for our staff by creating leadership opportunities within the organization. It strengthens the employee engagement, supports retention, and helps reduce attrition by providing clearer career pathways and consistent guidance. So now the important part for all of you. What fiscal impact is there? Well, zero against the general fund, and here's why. There's a difference of $5,612 for this fiscal year and an annual cost of $16,042 if fully funded and fully allocated all year long. Those costs are spread out between two independent contracts that are executed by our office. Those contracts being the City of Imperial and the City of Hopeville, which both pay for dispatch services. So there is currently a fund balance within these two contracts that help support us, not just funding this today, not just funding this next year, but sustainable costs moving forward for any changes, any increases, anything that this board might have hindrances or apprehensions in going for this. That's my presentation today. Any questions from any of you?
Any questions? Okay. I believe that's pretty self-explanatory. So we have a motion by Supervisor Kelly and a second by Supervisor Cardenas-Singh. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
all.
all you guys. Take care. And happy holidays if we don't see you.
Happy holidays. Right. Okay. So at this time, I guess we can report out. Is that
We
correct?
have item 18.
Well, item 18?
Yes.
Okay, discussion action regarding the establishment of a public safety lead dispatcher. As just explained. So, do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Price, second by Supervisor Escobar. Wake up down there, Mr. Escobar. Okay. All in favor? Vote yes. Please vote. Motion carries. Are there any other items, Madam Secretary?
None, Chairman.
Okay. At this time, we'll close our afternoon session.
Chair Hawk, if I may report out of closed session. The Board of Supervisors met this morning in closed session to discuss those items listed on the closed session agenda on page 2 of the Board of Supervisors agenda. Direction was given as to those matters. No final action was taken as to any matter. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Jeff.
Chairman, it is 2:37 p.m. Meeting adjourned.